And once again, as I mentioned earlier, we have a jam-packed show for you today, so let's get started. Frank Burke with the law office of McMahan and Associates. Brent joining us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, James.
Nice meeting you. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to wrecks, accidents, car incidences. No one wants to be in a wreck, but let's talk about being proactive.
Thanks a lot, James. Yeah, I'd like to tell people, first of all, number one, drive safe and don't text, but that's a long conversation for a different day. Right. I'm here to talk about insurance. Every law has compulsory insurance laws. In Tennessee, we have a financial responsibility law. The law requires you to either have an insurance policy of minimum limits of at least $25,000. Georgia's the same, and or be independently wealthy and post a bond.
So, when it comes to insurance, is it smart to carry minimum insurance?
Absolutely not. Every week, my law partner and I have conversations with people when they come in and they say, Mr. Burks, I'm fully insured, and I look and I find out they have $25,000 in coverage. Now, you can imagine with medical bills, hospital costs, if you're in a wreck and heaven forbid you have a broken bone or a surgery, those bills very well will exceed $25,000 in coverage. So that is not full coverage.
So, all right, the folks watching right now going, okay, you know what? I don't really know exactly what I have when it comes to coverage, whether you drive a used car or a new car. I mean, does that even matter?
Well, what I would encourage people to do is they can contact my law firm. Mr. Kennamer and I, free of charge, will take a look at their policy and try to talk to them about that. The easier thing might be to contact their agent. I spoke with an agent this morning and found that a person was paying $29 a year for $100,000 in coverage. So there's a misconception that it costs an exorbitant amount of money to have larger coverage, and I tell people get at least $100,000 coverage. And I also want to talk about, and this gives us an intro, uninsured motorist.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. What is that, and how do you get it?
It's probably the most important coverage that you can have as a Tennessean or a Georgian or anybody listening in the viewership area, because 1 in 4 drivers approximately in Tennessee are uninsured. And if that scares you, it should.
Yeah, sure.
We're about the 4th highest state in the 50. So what that means is if that person hits you and causes injury to you or your loved ones, you're left holding the bag. You can buy a policy called uninsured motorist that will cover you for that. And so that's the most important coverage you can get. And once again, I encourage people to talk to their agent, get as much coverage as they can afford.
Sure.
$100,000 would be a good starting level.
So when it comes to uninsured motorist coverage, what are we looking at price-wise? I mean, I know it kind of varies, but...
Well, and I have to fudge there. I'm not an expert on that, but you can call your agent, and obviously it depends on your driving record. If you're a risky driver, the premiums are higher. If you've had a good driving record, the premiums are much less. But that's the most important thing that people can look into. I had a conversation with a family, well, more than once, unfortunately, involving a death where there was $25,000 in coverage. I've had conversations where there was no coverage. That's a sobering thing. That's a bad thing to go through. And I don't wish that on any family.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that if anybody gets anything out of this, I would say, please get with your insurance agent. If you don't have an insurance agent or you want to call our law firm at 265-1100 locally, we'll take our time free of charge. We'll sit down and look at your policy with you and try to tell you whether you ought to look at some different coverage or some extra coverage.
All righty, great. Thank you so much, Brent, for joining us today. Some great insight. And
yes, sir.
We need to know what we're paying every month and what that goes for, just in case we do have an accident. You can get in touch with Brent. And I think I called you Frank Burke a little while ago.
I've been called worse.
McMahan Law Firm. Call them today for any questions. There's their website and their phone number, 423-62. That's 423-265-1100 or McMahanLawFirm.com. Thank you.